Hey YouTube land, Tychondris here doing another action figure review. Now this is for something that just arrived literally today in the post, and I'm just jumping in straight in with it. Now before I proceed, I need to say that these reviews are intended for collectors over the age of 13 years old, but abide by the COPA and FTC rules. If you need to ask permission from a parent or guardian to watch a video, then go do so. But as I said, these are for 13 years and plus. The figures themselves are actually say on the box for 12 plus, so there you go. So what this is for wave 2. I think this is wave 2. Pretty sure this is wave 2 because there's only been one wave. I would say wave 1 and 1.1 or 1.5. This is officially sort of wave 2 of the McFarlane Warhammer 40,000 figures, and this is the all new figure, as opposed to the other figure in this wave, which you'll see. The other figure in the wave is partially all new, but this is an all new figure. And what this is the Adepta Soroitas, or otherwise known to our old school gamers or old school 40k fans as the Sisters of Battle. So, or if you want to be completely completely descriptive, space guns with nuns. Or sorry, other way around, space nuns with guns. Yes, we got it right the second time around. So it's basically, as I said, a space nun with a gun. Now, I'm trying to remember which order this one is painted as. It's not the Bloody Rose. Is it the Order of the Chalice? There's several different factions, just like the way there are several different Space Marine factions. And off the top of my head, I cannot remember the faction for this one, but it's the most popular version of the Sisters of Battle with the black and red armor and white trim. Now we'll go over the box. As you can see, she is in the box. So you see what you get. You get a bolter or a bolt gun and a chainsword, and you get the figure, and then behind the figure there's a display stand, and this display stand is the exact same ones as one of these little flat bases. And then flipping around to the back of the box, you have the Adepta Soroitas Battle Sister Bolter and Chain, an Astris Chainsword. I don't think it even says which faction she is on this either, unlike the other figure in this wave. So there's 4 figures in this wave. Technically, they release them all together in the same go, as opposed to what they did with the first wave, where they released 3 figures and then they released a 4th figure. The first wave release figures was a Necron Warrior, a Space Marine Primaris Assault Intercessor, and then they released and the other figure was the Artist Proof Space Marine with the bolt gun, or the bolt rifle, I should say. And then later, I'm not sure if they did it as an exclusive, but they did release an artist-proof version of the Necron way later than the initial release. So technically, it would say Wave 1.5 and not Wave 2. But the other figures that they've done this time around is they seem to have released all 4 together. So you have this one, the Adepta Soroitas Battle Sister, or Soroitas, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Sister Battle. Then you have an artist-proof version, so it's the exact same sculpt, just done in a grey plastic, so you can paint it yourself, as the way the plastic miniatures would come. They come in a grey, depending on where you get the set from. Some of them are pre-coloured, like some of the intercessors are blue plastic to denote that they were supposed to be painted up as Ultramarines, or to make it easier to paint them Ultramarines. This is the artist-proof one. There is the Hellblaster Space Marine, and this is done in a Blood Angels deco as opposed to Ultramarine. So the first Space Marine was Ultramarine, so we'll take a look at one of those later in this video. The new one is essentially a reuse of parts with a few new toolings, and it's a Blood Angel. I've never been a fan of the Blood Angel chapter. They had some cool backstories with the Death Company, where they have like all black armor with red livery, and they're like supposed to be suffering from what's the bloodthirst. Basically, they're space vampires. And then you have an artist-proof Hellblaster, which is essentially the same figure as the Blood Angels one, but instead of having the Blood Angels iconography on them, they actually remove all that, so you can paint it up as any chapter that you want. Now, I will say, there is another Sisters of Battle figure, and it's not shown here because it is a Chase exclusive, and I've only seen it in images, and it is a really sweet version. It's a alternate kind of color. Instead of being black with red, it's white with black. So the main base armor is white, and the robes and stuff are black on it. So without further ado, let's get this figure out of the box. Boom. There we go. That was quick. We got her out of the box and ready for reviewing. I'll just move the box out of the way. I did order 2. I was hoping that the second one that arrived, or the 2 that arrived, I might have gotten the Chase variant as one of them and the regular one, but I only ended up getting 2 regulars. So here is the Sister of Battle in all her glory. Now, she has a good few paint apps on her. She doesn't have too many, painted areas on the main body. Most of the paint app seems to have gone into the gold, slight gold trim on some of her front facing. Like on some of the miniatures, people would deck out the, is it Fleur de Leu? I can never pronounce the name of that thing. It's that iconography that they use for the Sisters of Battle. It's the same one that's on her shoulder pad that's in white. Sometimes the ones on here would be white. Her armor, most people on the miniatures paint the armor studs on the corset sort of thing. They also paint the buttons gold on the miniatures. Unfortunately, I don't have one of my painted miniatures nearby. They're all in another place. But like on the miniatures, they'd have a bit more paint apps than what we get on the figure. Even the if I flip her around the back here, you can see she has another Holy Relic piece on her back that would normally be painted in silver or gold or brass or whatever color the miniature painter would care to paint. Even these kind of almost, what are they called? They're like those things. Oh, what are they called? I cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but the rosary beads, that's it. The rosary beads would almost be painted on the miniatures as well. But as a standing, it's not too bad. Paint apps aren't too bad from what I can see. I don't have any bleeding or paint splotching from what I can see for the most part. Now, unlike the Space Marine, the backpack is pre-assembled. When you got the Space Marine, his backpack and the weapons were separate. Obviously, the weapons are separate, as you saw in the picture of the box. What's interesting to note is that they give her both a bolter and a chainsword. Now, normally, Sisters of Battle would either have a bolter, a special weapon, like a flamer, plasma gun. See, I don't think they even have plasma guns. I don't remember seeing plasma gun. I know they have melta-guns. Flamers seem to be the main. Yeah, melta-guns and flamers are their mainstay, because they're basically there to burn the heretics or the enemies of the Emperor. What's interesting is this isn't actually a cloth soft goods piece. It's actually a fairly rubber piece, and it's, from what I can see, it's a separate to the belt. The belt is actually attached over it, so it is a separate piece if you want to disassemble them. Your old space butt. Articulation wise, she is quite articulated, and I'll just get into her accessories first before I go on more about the figure. I'll probably waffle on more about the figure when I get to her. Now, just standing up, they are wearing kind of fairly big boots, so she should stand. I know her toes seem to like doing the whole evil witch of the west sort of thing and curl up on me. The hinge is quite loose on her. She's just going to fall over and shit. So, to resolve that issue, we'll just throw her into the base. And she stands fine. So, accessory-wise, she has a chainsword. It's kind of standard operating weaponry of the Imperium. Bolter, chainsword. think they hand these out to them when they're conscripted or like not thrown off the bus when they go to Space Marine school or Sister Battle School. Just nearly everyone has a chainsword in the 40k universe. And here is the Space Marine equivalent of it. So you can see the blades are pretty much the same length. The only difference is the handles are slightly shorter handle for the Sister Battle one. But the overall design is pretty much the same. You have the kind of exhaust pieces at the bottom here. You have the blades. The blades almost, it looks like they took the same sculpt for the top piece and just re-sculpted the base piece. You have the handle. Again, you have the Sisters emblem on them. What's interesting to note about the Sisters of Battle compared to the Space Marines, they don't generally tend to have unique chapter symbols in the way that the Space Marines have, like Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Dark Angels. They all have unique chapter iconography. The Sisters tend to have the same that same shoulder pad on all of them, and it's just painted differently per kind of what are they called? They're not called legions. The different kind of chapters, or what you would call the Sisters. But that is it for her chainsword. The bolt gun isn't too bad. It's not too bad. I do feel it might be a little bit small. The ones that they normally wield seem to be fairly big, bulky things. Just going from the scale point of view, I think it could be a slight underscale. Now, that could be just me, but I always kind of remember the bolt guns being fairly big. It's nice that they painted the magazine on this one. The icon isn't painted though on this, and it's just a kind of a dull bolt metal, or a gunmetal silver. So if you had a black wash or anything like that, you could go to town customizing it. Now, onto the figure itself. I've waffled on enough. Head is on a ball joint. You can look down, up, rotate all the way around. If you would want to do a exorcist version of the Sister Battle. The shoulder armor is a separate piece. It doesn't really get in the way too much of the actual articulation. Obviously they can't go so far up, but it is kind of a separate section all glued on top of the base body. They do have that kind of slight butterfly joint as well. An arm is on a rotation and can swivel that much. You have a bicep swivel, which is really nice. It's just hidden. It's hidden nicely by the cloth piece. You have double hinged elbows, which give you a good range of movement. The arms are that kind of standard McFarlane one where you have the ball peg, but because of the sculpting, it's really nicely hidden, so you can't really even notice it. You could notice it a small bit more on the Space Marine, but not so much on her. Legs can do splits that much. They are not they are hindered a small bit by the actual sculpt. What's interesting as well is that this corset piece is a separate piece. It's a more rubbery piece to give more kind of crunch. And you have a upper waist swivel. I don't think you have anything below that. You just have the upper diaphragm, whereas the Space Marine had a waist and an upper diaphragm joint. Again, backpack is part of, it was pre-attached. I don't think it's removable. I think it's possibly glued in place. They can kick forward quite a bit. Can't really kick back that much because of the sculpting of her butt. And then, as I showed, dual hinged knees. She likes to do the witch thing with her toe articulation. She has that toe thing. She does have rocker joints in the ankle. She can go forward and back, and there's a swivel on it, so you can kind of hinge it to give you an angle. And she looks pretty damn good. So if I just get her bolt gun into her hand, and I'll throw the chainsword into her hand as well. The hands are slightly rubber. They're not completely solid, so it should make it easy to get them in. If I just do it on hand, there we go. So she can wield her chainsword and have the bolt gun and look down the barrel of the bolt gun, or look down the where we would have the sights. So she does have quite a good range of articulation. Now, let's bring in the old tape measure to show what height she is. She stands just around the just a little under 7 inches tall, which should be about right. Here is her Adepta Soroitas, I think that's the right way, the Space Marine counterpart. You can see the Space Marine does tower over her a small bit. And then for the other size comparison, here she is with the Heretic Necron. Just put him into his more squat pose. Bear with me a moment. Get him to stand a little bit better. And he's a bit off tilt, so let me just move everyone over a slight bit and bring him in so you can see me a little bit better. You can see the Necron. Necron does stand around the same height, and if I can get someone else, that would be a good comparison. Who do I have? Well, I have another McFarlane figure. It's Chief Hopper. So she stands around the same height as him. And for another figure, trying to see if I have any female figures that would be handy to bring in. Bring in another female Marine, the NECA Vasquez, the Kenner line version. So she stands a bit taller than her. Technically, because she's wearing power armor, that would probably be about right. And they are wearing extra armor on, so they probably would scale up about right. The line is supposed to be 7 inches, so they're supposed to be in scale with like other 1/12 scale figures. And then just for one other size comparison, because I have him handy and he's next to me, bring in another McFarlane figure, Scorpion, from the Mortal Kombat series. You can see he stands a little bit taller than her with the hood. I would imagine with the hood down, it would be roughly around the same height. But overall, she will look good on a shelf. And if you have multiples, as I picked up extra one for myself, I might get a few more, because I've really liked Sisters of Battle. It's one of the armies that I collect and nearly have a fully painted army of, which is rare. I know most people have a pile of shame of miniatures that they've bought, assembled, and never painted. But Sisters of Battle is one of the few armies that I have a nearly full, complete painted army for. So there you go, guys. I know I waffled on a little bit, and hopefully you enjoy this video. These are available at Walmart.com at the time of this recording. They do have them up at the moment, still in stock. For us here in Europe, I haven't seen them anywhere for sale. I got mine through Walmart and got them sent through a proxy website that sends stuff to US from a US only shipper to Ireland. So that was the only way I could get them. Hopefully they'll pop up on places like Amazon over here in the UK, or over here in Ireland. They'll pop up in the Amazon sites for Europe and UK. I have seen listings for ones on a couple of the Amazon sites, but they're third-party sellers selling them at incredibly overpriced, which the one I seen, and this is just today at the time of this recording, there was someone trying to sell one for €95 on Amazon, and these figures are only $20 in the States, so I would not be paying 4-5 times the price of the figure if you can get them easier. And I'm pretty sure Big Bad Toy Store has them as well. They're still on pre-order with them though. They haven't got them in stock yet, but if you want to get them, you can get them through there, and they're pretty reliable and are pretty good for having them. If you get them in stock, you can put them into your pile of loot and then ship them when you're ready. So that is the one thing I will say. So I hope you enjoyed this video review, and as I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to my channel.